More than 3,000 years ago, deep below the surface of the Valley of the Kings, King Tutankhamen was laid to rest when he died unexpectedly after ruling Egypt for less than 10 years. There, the tomb of the boy king sat in a room behind a series of sealed doors along with more than 5,000 stunning artifacts fully intact for more than 32 centuries, until it was discovered by British archaeologist Howard Carter in 1922. Here is a glimpse at a handful of those wonderful treasures. This life-sized statue of Tutankhamun with golden eyes, gold clothing and contrasting black skin was one of two sentries that Carter found guarding the sealed entrance of Tutankhamun's burial chamber. Among the artifacts placed there to assist Tutankhamun in the afterlife, the site yielded a large collection of shoes and sandals, 81 pairs to be exact. The golden sandals seen here was for funerary use. These sandals would have been placed on the dead pharaoh's feet before he was wrapped in strips of linen. Tutankhamun was buried with 8 fans, a single handheld and 7 mounted on stalks of varying lengths for operation by courtiers. This fan shows a scene of Tutankhamun hunting ostriches. This one shows the king's twin cartouches flanked by the protective wings of the vulture goddess Nekhbeth. During ancient Egypt, the golden throne was a symbol of power and a show of social status. This throne was made out of wood and is entirely covered in a layer of pure gold, as well as partial areas of silver included in the throne. The golden throne shows Tutankhamun and his wife Ankhsenamun. Boomerangs may look like an out-of-place artifact in an ancient Egyptian tomb, but they were used from at least the Old Kingdom many hundreds of years before Tutankhamun. They were used mostly for catching birds. This gold bracelet features a scarab beetle made of lapis lazuli, a semi-precious stone prized for its intense blue color, making it a favorite for ancient Egyptians. The scarab was regarded as sacred. Khepri was the scarab-faced god of the rising sun and rebirth. This handheld musical instrument, about 20 inches high, is known as sistrum and may have been used during Tutankhamun's burial rites. The bed you see here is one of the many beds found in Tutankhamun's tomb. Ancient Egyptians believed that the dead will wake in the afterlife and carry on with a new life. Thus, each pharaoh was given several beds to sleep on in his or her tomb. Tutankhamun's mummy was provided with 2 daggers encased in gold sheaths, one with a blade of hardened gold seen here and the other with an iron blade. The iron dagger was made with iron that came from a meteorite. It dates to around 1350 BC, about 200 years before the Iron Age, and in its time would have been worth more than gold. The dagger features a decorated gold handle and a gold sheath with a floral lily motif on one side and a feather pattern on the other side. In Egyptian, Senet means passing, and this 5,000-year-old board game had a religious significance. The aim of each player being to move their pieces around the board avoiding hazards. Good luck was a blessing from the gods, and the winner was the first to pass into the afterlife by getting all their pieces off the board. Thus, it was common practice to place the game board alongside other objects in the grave. The lion bed representing a lion deity. The lion was an important symbol associated with strength and virility. The Egyptians imagined that the horizon was flanked by two lions and the sun rose between them each morning. Thus, the king's body could be reborn from this bed. Ancient Egyptians believed the body was needed in the afterlife, and a great deal of care was taken to preserve it after death. To prevent damage to the deceased's body, something particularly important for pharaohs, who it was thought became divine after death, stalls such as these were placed on fingers and toes so that they would keep their shape. This wooden container is believed to have held a mummified duck, while others held cuts of meat such as beef and goat. Some 48 of these meat mummies were found in Tutankhamun's tomb. Mirror case made from gilded wood and in the shape of an Ankh symbol. Originally, the case contained a mirror, but thieves had already stolen the mirror when it was first discovered. The case consists of two parts, both of which were made of wood overlaid in sheet gold. Within Tutankhamun's tomb, there were two large ceremonial chariots, a smaller highly decorated one, and three others that were lighter and made for daily use. This artifact may be the most elegant and precious thing in Tutankhamun's casket, as it was carefully concealed under his helmet. This was likely placed over his wig and worn as a crown during his lifetime. The vulture and the snake, which can be found protruding from the diadem, represent his rule over Upper Snake and Lower Falcon Egypt. This solar hawk Horus figure, a gilded wooden hawk with a sun on its head, was part of the decoration of a chariot. The Canopic shrine was used to both depict the life of Tutankhamen as well as used for storage for objects such as the Canopic jars. It stands 6.5 feet tall, and a frame with 4 hieroglyphic inscribed posts surrounds the outer shrine, topped by gilded and painted cobras crowned with gold sun discs. Scenes of 4 protective deities are incised in relief on the sides of the shrine, each spreading their arms to protect one side of the shrine. There were altogether 8 shields that were discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb, which allows an insight into the military activity that occurred during the reign of Tutankhamen within ancient Egypt. This shield in particular shows King Tutankhamun in a powerful and strong depiction as flaunting his sword while having in his hands 2 lions by the tail, which is symbolic of opposing enemies. Behind the king, Nekhbet the vulture goddess is shown protecting the king. This necklace was found in Tutankhamun's mummy wrappings. It looks slightly worn, likely a favorite of the king's in daily life. Here, the pendant is a falcon with outstretched wings circling around to enclose the head with sun disk and uraeus above it. Many people do not know that Tutankhamun's sarcophagus held not 1 but 3 coffins. The outermost sarcophagus, which held the 3 golden coffins, is massive, made of red quartzite, and is still in the tomb in the Valley of the Kings. Tutankhamun's body, along with his golden mask, was placed in the smallest of the 3 coffins. Unlike the other 2 larger coffins, which are made of gilded carved wood, The innermost is made of 180 kilograms of solid gold. Both this crook and the flail has Tutankhamun's name inscribed on them and were likely used for the coronation. These and another royal crook and flail from the tomb are the only examples ever discovered. The other flail and the crook are significantly smaller than this set, which can be taken as evidence that the king was not fully grown when he ascended the throne. Experts believe that these linen gloves were actually used by Tutankhamun while he was alive. Tutankhamun's inlaid pectoral, which shows winged large scarab beetle riding on a sacred bark and flanked by the goddesses Isis and Nephthys. This 24-pound mask of solid gold was placed over the head and shoulders of Tutankhamun's mummy outside the linen bandages in which the whole body was wrapped. It is assumed that the mask was intended for someone else, probably Nefertiti, and that the early and unexpected death of the pharaoh necessitated the replacement of the cartouche with the name of the ruler. So far, there is no convincing evidence to support such a claim, however. An amethyst scarab bracelet of Tutankhamun in an oval setting decorated with gold granules arranged in a pattern of small triangles. It is framed by gold and stone beads ending with two cobras, a sign of royalty. The afterlife was incredibly important to the ancient Egyptians. They believed that by preserving a dead person's body through the process of mummification, the soul would live on in the afterlife forever. During the mummification process, the internal organs were removed, wrapped in linen bandages, and placed in containers called canopic vessels. Usually these were jars, but sometimes the organs were stored in miniature golden coffins like this. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.